This is Joe Tucker, and welcome to The Rule of Law, The Academy Speaks. I'm president of the International Academy of Trial Lawyers, and this is the Academy's official podcast. Today, once again, I'm joined by a great friend and a great litigator, Roman Silberfeld. Roman is National Trial Chair of the well-known law firm of Robins Kaplan. In addition to being a fellow in the Academy, he is also head of the Academy Foundation. And we're going to be talking about a couple of things with Roman today. One is a landmark piece of litigation that he has handled. And second, his role as chair of the Academy's Foundation. But let's first begin with a piece of litigation that you and your firm have recently handled, Roman. It's the Powers v. McDonough case. Why don't you first tell us about this case before I start asking some questions about it?
Sure. So Los Angeles is the homeless capital of the country. It's actually the homeless capital of the world. It's also the homeless veterans capital of the country. There are more homeless veterans living on the streets of Los Angeles than anywhere else in the country, and most places combined don't rise up to the level of homeless veterans.
What type of numbers are we talking about?
They do an annual count, Joe, of the homeless and the homeless veterans. And last count, it was about 3,200 individuals. That stands in sharp contrast to a piece of property that exists in West LA in a very ritzy, fancy neighborhood called Brentwood. That piece of property is 400 acres of land that was deeded to the government in trust as a soldier's home 140 years ago. And for the first 80 years of its life, that property was in fact a soldier's home. 4,000 or 5,000 veterans lived on the property. They had a village, they had services, they had a movie theater, they had a trolley that goes all the way to the beach in Santa Monica. But after the Vietnam War, about 50 years ago, the VA decided to convert the property away from housing and make it basically a commercial enterprise. So they leased property to UCLA for its baseball stadium, 10 acres of land. They leased 22 acres to a private school for its athletic facilities. They leased property for oil drilling on the property. All these uses had nothing to do with serving veterans. And the purpose of the charitable trust was to be a home for veterans. So you have 3,000 people on the streets. You have this property sitting there idle. And we brought a lawsuit to make sure that that proper use returned to that property.
And when you say we, who is the we there, Roman?
Sure. So there are two public interest organizations in LA that serve the interests of the homeless and the homeless veteran population. One is Public Counsel, the other is the Inner City Law Center. And so we partnered with Inner City and with Public Counsel as outside litigation counsel. So the marriage there is a unique one, and it's true of a number of large pro bono cases that we've done over time. We don't necessarily have the expertise to know what veterans' benefits do them. We know what happens in a courtroom, though. And so we brought our trial skills to bear, and they brought not only the clients and the claims, but they brought the substantive expertise to the case. And we tried the case last year for a month to a federal judge and got a judgment in September.
Well, I'm going to talk about that in a moment, but what's been in the press a lot lately is law firms and their handling of pro bono and backing off of pro bono or doing particular type of pro bono that the president may be dictating. Why is it that you and your law firm chose this type of pro bono matter?
We have an 85-year history of doing this kind of work. We were founded by two Jewish guys in 1938 who couldn't get a job at a major firm in Minneapolis because they didn't hire Jews. When our firm was founded, the principle was we're there to serve everybody. We're there to serve the rich and powerful. We're there to serve the moneyed interest. We're there to serve corporations. And we're there to serve people who can't afford to hire lawyers to have their rights vindicated. So the Powers case is completely consistent with a very, very long history of doing pro bono work. And we're just not put off by or dissuaded by the rhetoric, the threats that come out of the administration on this particular point anyway.
I want to get to, you said you prevailed in the Powers case. Tell us what exactly prevailing looked like for your clients.
Well, we literally won everything. We won an order that compels the VA to build roughly 2,550 housing units, where today there are about 300. We won a change in how housing is financed and paid for. We won a judgment on what counts as income for disability income purposes and for eligibility for housing. One of the cruel ironies in the case was that the most disabled veterans, by reason of their disability, get the most benefits. The VA, unlike any other federal agency, counts those benefits as income, and somebody who earns too much isn't eligible for housing. So the most disabled, the most needy veterans are actually excluded from housing. We reversed that. We got a judgment against them to stop that practice. We got, 6 or 7 injunctions in place. We literally won everything.
That's significant. It seems as though this one piece of litigation by you and your firm has eradicated a problem in Los Angeles of unhoused veterans.
Yes, it will in time. It'll take a little time, but in time, we will end homelessness among veterans. Homelessness is a very complicated problem. There are many, many reasons why people are homeless. But if you think about people who sign on the dotted line to give up their lives, if necessary, for this country, to leave them in particular wallowing in the streets, subject to crime, subject to disease, subject to any number of horrible outcomes, that is truly a shame. And that's what we tried to eradicate with the case.
What message should you be sending by this type of impact litigation, is what I call it, to other lawyers who are considering doing pro bono work? What message are you sending, Roman?
Well, it's really quite simple. Everybody should do this, especially for trial lawyers who do know what happens inside a courtroom and do know how to present cases in an impactful and meaningful way. For trial lawyers to step up and do this work is so rewarding. You get so much more back than you ever give. It's something everybody should be doing, truly.
Did it concern you or your firm that you were opposite the federal government in this litigation?
No, we go up against the federal government in all kinds of cases. We weren't dissuaded by that at all, not at all.
I'm going to change gears just for a minute. Sure. Well, not for a minute, for longer than a minute. Talk about the other hat that I know you in, and that's you lead the Academy's foundation.
Yes.
Tell our listeners a little bit about the International Academy Trial Lawyers Foundation.
So the foundation is something that was created over 30 years ago. I am fortunate to be its president this year and next. I stand on the shoulders of a number of people who came before me, who organized the foundation, who made it operate like a genuine trust and charitable organization that it is. And we bring our money, basically, to bear on some rule of law issues that we think deserve addressing. The point being to partner with like-minded organizations who care about the rule of law, who care about civil rights, who care about human rights, partner with them by funding some of their operations and programs. And we do that every year. We have a corpus of about $9 million today. The immediate goal is to make it 10 million. So anybody who is listening who wants to make a donation, they can do that at iatl.net.
Wait to get that pitch in. Why don't you give it one more time? I'll let you do a commercial here. What's the website again?
It's the Academy website, iatl.net. And it's all tax deductible. It's a wonderful way to support the rule of law. But public service announcement aside, we try to be a force multiplier in the impact that we make with the grants that we make, so that we partner with very sophisticated organizations in the immigration space, in the human rights space, in the United States and internationally, by the way.
Why don't you tell us about a few of the organizations that the Academy partners with through the foundation?
So
you don't have to tell us about all of them.
Sure. So the two that come to mind immediately, because it's such a present day issue, is we partner with a firm in Texas called Vecina. Vecina is an immigration rights organization in South Texas. We support their programs with our funding, and they do tremendous work for the undocumented, for people with immigration issues who are here legally. So that's one example, and that's a great one, Vecina. The other that I come to mind is we support an international organization in Africa called TroCare Zimbabwe. It is a human rights organization that uses its proceeds to defend human rights lawyers in Zimbabwe when they are regularly and routinely harassed and detained and arrested. They use their funds to hire lawyers to get those civil rights lawyers and human rights lawyers out of prison and out of incarceration.
Now, I'm sure you get a lot of requests for grants to the foundation.
Sure.
What does the vetting process look like? What type of organizations are you considering?
I think the most important one has to fit the mission of the Academy and the foundation, which is to support and defend the rule of law. There are many, many worthwhile organizations, obviously, out there. We would love to be able to support everyone. We can't. We support those that we have the money to support, and our foundation trustees sit as a vetting committee as a whole. So there are 10 of us, I think, trustees. And we sit as a committee of the whole and make decisions about where we want to put our money, and we insist on regular reporting back. We ask our grantees to, set goals, and then we measure a year down the line whether those goals have been met, and if not, why not, before we give grants a second time.
Why is the giving of grants through the foundation, and you having been president of the Academy also, and I follow in your footsteps,
right?
Why is the giving of grants through the foundation important to the Academy and the Academy's mission?
We're not just a social group. We're a group that cares deeply about the rule of law, defending democracy, defending our way of life, frankly, defending judges who can't speak out and defend themselves. The independence of the judiciary is something that's keenly important to our membership, to both on the Academy side and the foundation side. So it's because the Academy is a do-it organization that the foundation is a do-it foundation. We don't just sit around, we don't just talk, we walk the walk.
Well, I'm going to see if I can wrap both of these up. You talk about the powers litigation, and you talk about the Academy being a do-it organization. What are you telling young lawyers now? What message can you deliver to them who are sitting at their desk, or who are wondering, or just the average Joe or Jane on the street about doing it, Roman?
Well, What I tell the young lawyers in our firm, for example, because I mentor a number of them each and every year, is this. Find something that you're passionate about. Find something that you care about, whether it's immigration, whether it's veterans' rights, whether it's homelessness generally, whatever it may be. Find something that you can be passionate about. Find an organization that you can join and be a part of that serves that mission, and you'll get rewards many times over for anything that you've put in. You'll get way more out of it.
Well, when did you first start doing pro bono work, Roman?
I think in my second or third year in practice. So that was a few years ago.
And what benefit has it given you over the years?
Oh my gosh. I probably count 100 friends who I met through the organizations I've been a part of. I mean, I sat on the board of public counsel for 27 years. I was the founding chair of the Civil Justice Research Initiative at Berkeley Law. I chaired that for 10 years. Some of my dearest and closest friends outside of the academy are people that I've met in the charitable organizations that I've been a part of. So yeah, I've made great friends. I think I've made contributions, but I've gotten so much more out of it.
I think that's an important note, that you get more from it than you give to it by giving pro bono work.
Sure. Absolutely.
Yeah. Roman, I want to thank you for taking some time to talk to us today. It is, national chair of Robins Kaplan, their trial practice. You're out here, you're doing the do. You specifically are walking the walk. And it's my hope that lawyers listening to you can realize that they can make a difference, just one case at a time or just one bit of action at the time.
Yeah.
And I appreciate you. And what the foundation is doing also is helping to advance the rule of law. And as president of the foundation and the grants that you're giving, the academy is making a difference.
Absolutely, Ware. Yeah. It's great to meet you, Joe.
Thank you. I'm Joe Tucker, president of the International Academy of Trial Lawyers. And this is the rule of law. The Academy speaks. Thank you for listening.